The addiction only my horse could cure. A story too embarrassing to share. It started like any other bad habit, harmless at first. But soon, it consumed me. I was trapped, spiraling deeper with no way out until I met him. A horse. The only thing that seemed to understand the battle I was fighting inside. What happened next was something I could never have imagined and something I'm too embarrassed to share. But I will, because sometimes, healing comes from the most unexpected places. I tried everything to stop. I told myself I'd cut back, but I didn't. I tried to control it, but it controlled me. And the worst part? I didn't even have the courage to admit it to anyone. I kept my secret, living behind a mask of normalcy, pretending everything was fine while I was slowly unraveling on the inside. No one knew. No one could know. And then came the turning point, the moment when I realized I needed help, but wasn't sure where to look. That's when I found him. My horse. It was just a random day at a local barn, a friend of a friend kind of situation. I'd been feeling down, desperate even, but still wasn't ready to face my truth. A few of my friends had mentioned the healing power of animals, especially horses, but I'd never really believed it. How could something as simple as an animal help with something as complex as addiction? But something changed when I saw him for the first time. He was standing there in the paddock, calm, collected, his large, dark eyes holding a depth I couldn't quite understand. There was an unspoken strength in his presence, something that immediately drew me in. I don't know why, but I just knew. The owner, an older woman who had been around horses her entire life, explained that this particular horse had a unique connection with people. He can sense what's inside you, she said, her voice gentle but firm. He's been a healer for many people who've struggled with different things. He has a way of making you face your own demons. I wasn't sure what she meant, but I agreed to give it a try. Maybe I was just looking for an excuse to escape, to do something different, but at that moment, the idea of spending time with this horse felt right. It wasn't just about riding either. It was about connecting. The first few sessions were awkward, to say the least. I had no idea what I was doing, and I felt completely out of my element. But as I spent more time with him, something began to shift. There was a quiet power in the way he responded to me. Whenever I was near him, I felt a sense of calm that I hadn't experienced in years. His large, gentle eyes seemed to look into me, past the surface, and deep into the parts of me I had buried. I started to notice something unusual. On the days when I spent time with him, I found myself thinking less about my addiction. I didn't crave the comfort of a bottle or the numbness it brought. It was as if, by simply being in his presence, I was slowly reconnecting with a part of myself I had long lost. The more I worked with him, the clearer my mind became. His movements were graceful and slow, yet full of purpose. I started learning to breathe deeply, to center myself in the moment, to understand that healing wasn't just a physical process, it was emotional, spiritual, mental. And in all of that, he was the guide. The horse didn't judge me, didn't ask me questions. He simply accepted me, with all my flaws and imperfections. As the days passed, I found myself opening up. I began to share things with him that I had never shared with anyone else. I told him about my struggles, my fears, my weaknesses. And, in return, he gave me something I had been searching for: peace. It wasn't an overnight cure. I didn't magically stop feeling the urge to drink, but I began to change. Slowly. Gradually. There were still difficult days, but they didn't seem as impossible to navigate. Whenever I felt the cravings return, I would think of him. I would go to the barn, and there he'd be, waiting for me. It was as if he understood. No words were necessary. His calm presence was enough to remind me that there was another way to live. Eventually, I began to realize that the addiction wasn't just about the substance, it was about escaping. Escaping from the pain, the uncertainty, the emptiness. But being with him, I learned that running away never solves anything. Facing the pain, embracing it, working through it, that's what truly heals. This story is one I haven't shared with many people. It's personal, deeply personal. But I'm telling it now because I know that others out there might be struggling too. Maybe they're trapped in a cycle they can't break, feeling hopeless and alone. If my story can help even one person realize that there is a way out, then it's worth sharing. Because sometimes, healing comes from the most unexpected places, from a horse, of all things. So, to anyone who feels lost, who feels like there's no way out of the darkness, I say this: sometimes, the answers you need aren't the ones you expect. And sometimes, healing doesn't come from medicine, or people, or even words. It comes from connection. It comes from the quiet moments when you allow yourself to be vulnerable. And for me, it came from my horse.